Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant video. Today I'm doing a review of another Star Wars Black Series action figure on the channel. I'm doing one of the Imperial hovertank driver. And I'm going to go on a limb and say that, as I said in my new news video earlier today on the 28th of August, that this is from Rogue One. Yeah, I picked this guy up. There was not really much in terms of Mandalorian figures. There was a few Return of the Jedi stuff and some other bits and pieces from like one figure from Mandalorian, which was like a Tusken Raider, this guy, and then, as I said in that video in the new news, there was mainly just sort of 3.75 inch vintage line stuff, so which I didn't really want. But yeah, I'll be honest, I think the helmet is sort of growing on me the more I see it. It's kind of like a Death Trooper, but like the more sort of weathered version of like a Death Trooper in white kind of reminds me of like a weathered Stormtrooper sort of look. Almost. It comes with, accessory-wise, he just comes with one weapon. He comes with a standard sort of DC-15 rifle, I think. I could be completely wrong. Because my Star Wars weaponry knowledge is not, 110% there. But I'll be honest, just the weapon alone is very nicely detailed with, like, a lot of, as I say, detailing and that with the, like, clip of the gun on one side and then the, like, barrel being textured and then that bit that usually, like, flips out in the movies and then really big bit for one of his fingers to go through the hole to make him look like he's shooting it, as well as a really big scope and that on the weapon, on the blaster and that, and you can really get him in some really nicely dynamic, cool poses as well. He's nicely weathered as a figure as well. Detailing wise, he's very weathered, sort of sand, sort of thing. Like I think they are on a sand planet anyway. I can't remember if it is Tatooine. It probably is. There are only two major Star Wars sand planets, which are Tatooine and Jakku, really. So, yeah, and it's based around before, or just before the events of Episode 4, aren't they? It's a prequel to that, so I'm going to go on an educated guess and say, yeah, they're on Tatooine. So yeah, he's got this sort of like scuffed up, sort of yellowy brownish wash to his armour, which is really nice effect. And where that isn't a case, there's nice like silver paint for buckles and straps and that, and just black and silver, or like sort of these sort of light brownish sort of baggy trousers, and then black for the sort of bodysuit, and then the armour fits on top sort of thing. You've also got this big massive lump, or like piece of like thing that's on top of the helmet almost, because the tank, seen as he's a hover tank, Imperial hover tank driver, presumably there are a lot of like big heavy missile like launchers launching at those sorts of vehicles, so he's got like a big thing on his head. And that, articulation wise, he's like any other figure. He's got like, pretty decent articulation to be able to, as I say, put him in decent poses. And he is in scale with the other figures. I'm 90% sure that he'll be in scale with like Mando and the armor and Bo-Katan and so on and so forth. So if you want to do an animation or take pictures or animation or whatever with those figures, they will all look in scale with each other, so that's kind of really cool. That was something that I was a bit disappointed on. There was no like just standard Stormtrooper there at Forbidden Planet, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, you've also got like the sort of textures and weathering and stuff on the back of the figure as well, and as I say, you've got like your sort of arms can go out at the sides, elbows, knees, shoulders, hands do full 360s, all sorts of stuff. You can get him in some really cool, funky positions and like, sort of poses, really, to have him look like he's about to be blasted off, as I say, a projectile from the rebels, sort of poses. And whatnot, or you can have him more with like badass poses where you can try and get him to hold the DC-15 blaster rifle and have him look a little bit more badass and a bit more imposing and whatnot, you know, as in part of the Imperial Force, and that. And it's yeah, it's a good figure. I think it's a fun and good release from that film, you know, even if you're not the biggest fan of the film, it's still, as I said, pretty cool release, really. Pretty cool release, really, in my opinion. Just trying to get the blaster rifle into his hands now. This time it's not working as well, but typical, really. But yeah, you can get him in all sorts of positions and all, like, you know, poses and that. So have him, like, you know, sort of looking out like he's trying to take out some, as I say, rebel scum, and that's have him in some decent poses to look like he's about to take out some of the rebel scum on Tatooine and that, you know, or the Resistance. Well, they would be called rebels actually back then. But yeah, just yeah, it's just a normal sort of, in terms of articulation, sort of figure, I guess. In terms of the Star Wars Black series, it's really nice that they give you an accessory. I guess as a Doctor Who collector, I'm so used to almost never getting accessories these days. Recently, or in the last couple of years of B&M sets, we haven't really had accessories, so even if I know this is just the one accessory, it's better than nothing, and it is also very highly detailed and nice in terms of, like, the size and detailing. I mean, I guess if I was to nitpick, it would have been nice to maybe have also included maybe just a little, like, blaster pistol, maybe, or maybe a gun holster as well, although I guess maybe you could argue, like, he's supposed to be the driver, so, you know, he wouldn't really need a holster in that sense, but I don't know. Yeah, as I say, he's got the sort of ab crunch as well, so you can, like, have him, like, look like he's stretching back or stretching forwards or whatever, you know. As I say, you can get him in some very nicely dynamic and interesting poses and whatnot, you know, as a trooper sort of thing. One of the first sort of Imperial troopers I've got, and that, so yeah, hence the reason why I was a bit miffed in retrospect and a bit bummed out that they didn't have just a standard Stormtrooper, or even the weathered Stormtrooper from sort of Mandalorian. But yeah, I mean, again, this sort of helmet design is sort of slightly growing on me as well, because it's like the Death Trooper as well from Rogue One, but as I say, it's kind of like more like, oh, it's like that, but it's also kind of like a mixture between the Death Trooper helmet as well as like a Stormtrooper helmet, I suppose, because, you know, the white as opposed to the black of like a Death Trooper helmet. And that's yeah, it'd be a really cool figure to do, as I said before, animations, pictures with and whatnot, and that, and nice, another sort of Star Wars figure to add to the collection and add to the shelf if you're one of those people as well, to a figure shelf. And yeah, thanks for watching. I give this figure a sort of a well-earned. God, it's been a long day. Well earned 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please do comment, rate, and subscribe.